Succulent Karoo is most well known for its extravagant blooms of daisies in the springtime. It has immense plant diversity, high insect diversity as well, and it is the richest semi-desert in the world, with its diversity of succulent plants, the highest in the world. It has fertile soils and hot, dry summers, though the winters are cold and windy, and this year, 2021, they had a particularly big rain. I'm no botanist, but I can certainly appreciate the beauty and the diversity of some of the plants out there. These are the eastern buttons, the pagoda mini jade in various stages of flowering, and a remarkable looking plant it is. One of the few to be flowering in the winter, it seems to me. The Karoo slunkop, snakehead, with the strange looking flowers. The Buddha's temple. The cucumacruncas, adorable names. The whirlwind tamarack. And Gethyllis verrucosa, the only one for which I give a Latin name and not a fun common name. And an oxalis, it's an upside down one, but I like the colors. The beauty of the plants and the landscape in the Succulent Karoo had a big impression on me, but as usual, I paid most of my attention to the soil critters, those unsung heroes who keep the green parts of our planet green and allow us to live here as we do. But they weren't always easy to get to. I'm here in the Succulent Karoo, south of Sutherland. There's been a bit of a rain event, as you can see behind me, and it seems to be acting as a mass dispersal mechanism for springtails, or Collembola. So if you look at the surface of the water, everywhere you look, you see it's full of little springtails. Those little black specks.
I didn't know what you were looking for. They look like specks of dust. Often.
Indeed, like specks of dust. They're being moved around by the water, just floating on the surface tension. It's hard to imagine what that might feel like to be standing up on water as if it was a giant trampoline. And it's not only springtails. There's large insects, like these ants, stranded, waiting for the water to subside. And there's a lot of mites in the same size class as the springtails. Their velvety bodies floating about. All very lovely little creatures in this beautiful landscape. They're floating like big rafts, little tiny bodies clutching together, looking for purchase on anything dry. I'll have to take a closer look at some of these and see what exactly we're dealing with. Springtails are so named for their furca, which is a unique jumping organ they have. It looks almost like a little leg right on their tail, which they use to spring away from danger. More on that later. They're pretty interesting creatures. They're among the most widespread and abundant terrestrial arthropods. They're not actually insects, so they are hexapods. Here's a bit of a mix of stuff taken off of the surface of that water. Got a few different kinds of springtails. Not great photos, apologies for my poor microscopy. That one was particularly pretty. Fine specimen. I only got one of those. Some of them are quite charming looking with their patterns and their scales. They're soil dwelling mostly, though some live up in the vegetation, as many of these probably do. Yeah, it's quite amazing. Everywhere where the water has risen above the level of the soil, because of their hydrophobic skin, it'll catch all the little springtails and the mites apparently, and raise them up to float on the water surface, where they'll be redistributed by the wind blowing them across that surface or the flowing of the water itself somewhere else into the landscape. We get down onto the dry soil surface. It's not nearly as easy to find any springtails, or indeed as many mites, but we'll have a look, see what we can see anyway. Maybe I spoke too soon. These little mites seem prolific. There's a red Poduromorpha springtail trundling along. Not sure how it'll interact with these mites. Because the mites are so abundant and seem to pay little attention to the springtails, I'd guess that they're herbivorous, though my initial expectation was that they were predators. Beautiful little springtail on a journey. Notice its velvety surface. Give you a better sense of the scale. There's a bigger Entomobriomorpha, different order of springtails. They're often a little bit larger like this. You can see it's got a well-developed furca, hence it's springing out of the shot. Oops. Yeah, the soil fauna of this part of the Karoo is not very well studied, so far as I know, but there are probably a lot of interesting things to be found out here. I've certainly seen a lot today, and all because we stopped to have a coffee on the side of the road and I happened to notice a mite. And then upon inspecting the surface of the ground and then the water more closely, I just saw that right in front of me, right beneath my nose, was just huge diversity. There's too many interesting things under these rocks. That wasn't the end of the story. We got properly stuck. Properly stuck we got in the wet Karoo. And we were warned, but we were left with no choice in the end. We had to try go off the road and we just sank into the mud. After an afternoon of hard work, the road was churned up and there was just no getting out. So we had to leave our vehicle and hike out. That's what we did. Here we are, walking off the mountain like a couple of tits.
Rescue, je rätt.
So on that cold, wintry day, we were rescued by our gracious hosts, and we will return another day to excavate the Land Cruiser after our local tractor expert told us that even a 4x4 tractor would sink into the mud up there. So we've got to wait for the summer. So we will be back to the Succulent Karoo, and here's how I wish we left this time.